Here we go. Georgia Prescriptive Deck Agreements. Amendments? I guess we'll see when we look at it in a second. This is, if you need to build a deck in the state of Georgia, there's going to be the standard code you're going to go off. Different localities are going to have different requirements, but this is going to be kind of your bare minimum standards. If you are watching this with the expectation of learning how to build a deck tomorrow, this is not what this is. This is just meant to give you an overview of what the code really is, and maybe can start you on your journey of whether you want to build your deck and what it might be like in your locality. And if nothing else, what you should look out for your contractor to do and what you should be looking for. Reason I like decks. Decks are one of the most affordable way to add some really unique character to your house. Yeah, they make it stand out from other houses in your neighborhood, even if they all look exactly the same. For a relatively affordable prices, you can add, the whole outdoor living space and get a really unique zing and make it separate yourself from the competition. I'm going to go into a little bit more on that, I guess, in the rest of the video. But as for now, this is investing in Georgia. This is Georgia-specific information about buying, selling, fixing, flipping, renting real estate in the state of Georgia. I'm a Georgia licensed contractor and realtor. My contact information is below if you have any questions. Alrighty, let's dive in. Oh, not the page I meant to start off on. You will see this coming up here in a minute, though. Georgia Prescriptive. All right, we're off to a bad start on this live one. We're off to a bad start. Georgia Amendments Prescriptive Deck Details. I wonder if I said that right before. Probably not. All right, I'm just going to give you a quick overview of what we're looking at. This is single span, single level residential decks only. This is kind of your standard deck thing. All right. So we got your foundation post. You got your foundation, then your post, and this was called the beam. Got some pictures. That's not it. Here it is. Another picture of it. And this is the beam. This is going to be your joist. That's a ledger board where it attaches to the house. It's going to be your rim. Gonna be like a picture frame. See, it's like a picture frame right here, and you got all your posts, and this is your common joists. So let's dive in. Fun stuff. Obviously, you gotta be wood, southern pine, grade 2 or better. There's pressure treated. One thing, it should be pressure treated for ground contact, and not all treated lumber is rated for ground contact, which brings me right into the. No, well, give me a second. I'm not going to go into specific things about if you have wood or plastic composite materials. I'm not going to get into those because it's going to depend on your material you use. You need to be certified. Nails should be ring shanked or annular grooved. Screws and nails must be hot dipped, galvanized, stainless steel, or approved for use with pressure treated lumber. Use was it Z-Max Simpson strong ties for joist hangers, or triple zinc or gold coat from USP. There's gonna be some electrical things coming in here too, as well as other stuff. So let's start with the decking material. These could be we call 5-quarter board, 5x4s. These are your standard deck board. Quick thing, when you install these, a lot of people try to leave a gap in the middle. You don't leave a gap when you install it. You put them right up against each other. When they shrink, they create that gap to let water come through. And again, if you have composite material, that might not be, you might need to do that. You need these boards on top need to be perpendicular 90-degree angle to the joist, or 45 if you want the angle for like the herringbone type look. In accordance with picture 1. Yep. There we go. Plastic decking. You have other stuff. You need to make sure it is 40 pounds per square foot. And you gotta have all the qualifications for that. All right, let's look at these. All right, so this is a 6x6 post. This one has two 2x4 beams, not 2x beams. Right there, and see about this post. So if you have a 3-ply beam, I have a picture of that. If you have a 3-ply beam, it's going to go all the way across the top. If you got you got a 3-ply beam, which is like three 2-bys. You're gonna set it right on top. If you're doing 2, you do it this way. So you kind of notch the post, but the load bearing is right here. So the center of the load bearing port is the joist span is right in the middle of that, all the way to there, which is the end of the joist hanger. So we're going from right there to right here, actually. You know, this is where your load is carried. This isn't carrying any load right there. You can overhang 1/4 of the length from the joist span. So if this is 10 foot from there to there, you can go over 2.5 feet to the very end right there. Or if you go on top of the post, then that moves your thing right there, and you can put your joist hanger right there as well. That way your joist hanger sits on the post. I'm not missing anything. Okay. Joist span. So yeah, this is if you have a freestanding deck. Again, we just go into blocking here. 2x blocking. So yeah, so this freestanding deck. All that means is you are not have the full load of the house right here. You actually put in another beam, another post and beam to carry the load here. So it's called freestanding because it could literally, if your house fell down and it wasn't for the fact that it's attached to your house, it would stay standing. So you can have an overhang here. So similar, if you have 10 foot here, you can do 2 feet, 2.5 feet over here as well. So you can have a 15-foot deck with just 10 feet. But you see, notice here, you still got the 2x beams. That the load point is right there and right there. It's a key thing. So, and a lot of people think that contractors memorize all this code, and really, we a lot of times we just read a lot of these tables. Maximum joist span length. And you remember a lot of it over time. Then the beam can overhang 25% as well. So this is the beam span. It's got to go all the way across. See? But it can go over. Like the beam has to go all the way across, but the post can go that over optional overhang of 25. But the beam spans from here to here. So if this is, let's say this is 20 feet, this is 10 feet. So you can go over 2.5 feet right there. Maximum beam span length. You know, to go to your joist span, and you find out where all that, you just find the spot where you are at. All right, beam assembly. If a beam is constructed with 3 plies, each nail attach each outside member to the inside. As here, so you got two nails there, then you go up and down every 16 inches. Keeping, they look really good. It's a W shape. Length to width, it's gotta be two lengths divided by width. So if it was 10 divided by 10 feet long, which is so far out, and the width would maybe 2 or more. So if it's 10 and 5, if it was 10 and 4, it wouldn't be wide enough. Got to be 10 or less than 10. Less than or equal to 2. Don't get me doing math for you. Joist to beam connection. If you have your beam sitting here, you can either mount it on top of the beam. Only like an experienced carpenter is going to do it this way. You should just do like a hurricane clip or tie down right there. I always mount it this way anyways, because sorry, my dog is down there. He's pulling it stuff. Hopefully, let me make sure I'm still on the screen and all that, because I saw that move. Okay. Yeah, he moved me a little bit. See my computer. I'm not going to get with that. You got your joist hanger right there. That's why I like to put them down, because otherwise you get this stand. It's just not everyone wants to see the beam and stuff at the bottom. So you just drop it down here and hide it a little bit better. That way, then this is running your joists, and then your decking runs right on top of there. Joist hangers. This could be your specific. So yeah, as I said, you got to put your beam sitting on top of your post. Either you got to have that notch over. You can't just do a bolt through like this. Deck post must be 6 by 6 with a maximum height of 14 feet. So yeah, this is what I said. This is that post. So if you mount it right on top, you just put the 3-ply, put it right on top, and you use that bracket like that to keep them all connected. If you have just the two 2-bys, so this is your post right here, and it continues up there, and this is your 2-bys. Remember from the other thing, the center of the load is coming down right here. This is your load bearing part. This is the center of the load. This is your load bearing. This is not load bearing. This just keeps everything there. Footings. Standard concrete. You got to go down at least 12 inches below grade. And it's going to depend on your beam span and your joist span and the size and the size of your footing. If you're going square or round, that's going to determine your thickness. And it's all just a table right here. If you are closer than 5 feet to the existing exterior house, your house must bear at the same elevation as the existing house footings. So you have to go down to where the house foundation is. Do not construct footings over utility lines or service pipe. Call 811 before you dig. Ledger attachments. All right, ledger attachments. Ledger attachments and stairs are where it's going to get tricky. That's my dog. Ledger attachments and stairs are where it's going to get tricky. It's really going to test your carpentry and your brain power sometimes. So so ledger attachment is how you attach to the house. So sometimes you cannot attach to your house in a structural way, at least. The times you cannot do this is if you have I-joists in your house. I'll show you why. Or if you have masonry, a brick exterior, or if you're on an overhang or bay window. Why, you ask? All right. So this is your ledger board. That's what attaches your house, right? Now this is in your house. This is the sill plate that's sitting directly on your foundation. This is your house band. This is what you're gonna screw in your bolt into. So this is your joist in your house. So right here is also where your insulation is going to be. So you need to drill into there and bolt on the other side. So you're going to secure it that way. So inside of there is going to be your insulation. Any other pictures that are better for this? What it might be? Okay, no. I'm going to come back to this in a second. So, if you have an I-joist, it's not going to be strong enough. Look at it. It's weaker in the middle. If you have all that load carrying right there, it's not made for that. You cannot attach to I-joist. And I assume if you were, I haven't read this in particular. So since you have to bolt through, I assume that the reason you can't use with your masonry is because that bolt's going to be longer and it's going to not sit right next to the board. The board's going to be too far apart. And this, so you have an overhang, so that's a cantilever to your house already. It's not made to take that extra weight. All right. Now let's go back. The ledger board may be greater and equal to the depth of the joist. I mean, it's got to be the same size because it's the main thing. It's attaching to your house. The band board of the existing structure shall be capable of supporting the new deck. You can't do that if you can't prove that. You have to do a freestanding deck. So yeah, as I said, that's when you need. That's when your I-joist and those other things are going to be required. Siding and flashing. Okay. The exterior finish, i.e. house siding, must be removed before the installation of the ledger board. And continuous flashing with a drip edge is required to the ledger board when connected to a wood band board. What does that mean? Back to this picture. All right, so if you do not have flashing in there, all your water that's going to come down your siding is just going to go right back in between your ledger board and your house band. And water's just going to sit there. So you have to take the siding off, whatever you have, to put this flashing there. So that water is going to come here and be sheeted off this way. Away from your house and away from your house band. That will destroy your house by just having water sit there. That's why you have to take off the siding to make sure the flashing goes underneath the siding. What I-joist? So yeah, this is a good example. This is your sill plate. This is your ledger board. Your two bolts going through there. Hey, this will be a good one. All right. So this is your insulation, all that right here, right? So if you have, say, if you just screw all these bolts in there, which I'm going to go to in a second. Say for a lot of times you'll have electrical and you have plumbing. Say if you have a bathroom right there, you have plumbing lines coming in here. You have all kinds of other stuff going on as well. So a lot of times that's when it's going to get tricky with some of these things. Or if one of these joists comes in at a certain spot, you're going to have to move around and get around them. One of your floor joists. It can be kind of tricky sometimes. Say most of them are fine. Sometimes they're not. That's when you can't do the ledger. Oh yeah, now this is how you attach a ledger board. So you got your 4 bolts right here on either end, and you go up and down like this. And how far those bolts have to be are here, depending what you're using. Fun stuff, isn't it? If you're framing at a chimney or bay window, you gotta do extra framing because it's a cantilever. within 6 feet, you gotta carry that load from right there over there over there. So if you don't go out more than 6 feet, if you go 3 feet or more, you can get around and not too bad. You do have to have extra framing. Lateral support. Alrighty, this is what you'll usually see. This is the other ways to do it. You can go this way, call this K bracing or X bracing. Guess why? But think about it. If you're walking around underneath there, which would you rather have? Knee bracing. Correct answer. Be diagonal. Let's see. Do I have any pictures of it with knee bracing? No. In addition, if you're doing freestanding, you have to do this, I think, parallel. Diagonal bracing, I think this is parallel to the, like going along this way. Usually you go down both sides just to make it. But you definitely need on freestanding, you need to go in this way, parallel. Well, before I put my foot in my mouth, let me double check this. Yep. Freestanding shall be also diagonal bracing. It's all parallel. So if you do freestanding, you got to go parallel as well. Parallel as well. Only one type of diagonal bracing shall be provided in each beam identified in Figure 22 at each line and at each joist identified as number 23. So you got beam and joist. Fun stuff. Freestanding decks. Really, the main difference between a freestanding deck is that you have an additional footing and post. Because it carries the weight here because you can't tie it to that ledger board for one reason or another. Within 5 foot, you have to be the same elevation as the existing house yet again. See, we got the double diagonal bracings right there. Double diagonal bracings. Rim joist. Joist overhang, joist overhang. Now, even if you are freestanding, you always attach it to the house as well. I've never seen, I don't know where it says actually in the code, but they make you do it. We've just always done it that way. So, all right. When do you need deck guards? This is when a deck guard is required. So let's just assume that this is level ground all here. And this is less than 30 inches from the floor there to the ground. You would be fine. However, this has a roll off and they measure from 36 inches from the edge of this out. Then if you go down 30 inches. So that's where you got to measure from. If you are more than 30 inches, you need a guard. A lot of times it'll be easier to change the grade. If you don't want the guard, you can change the elevation point. It's a lot of times easier. All right. One of the biggest problems you'll have with decks is the handrails are wobbly, right? That's one of the things this fixes. These 4x4s are mounted directly onto the rim. You can go inside or outside. If you do inside, it gets a little bit better look. This one, yeah. See how this is on the inside of them. But most of them, if you go up with the look, you're going to be mounted right on the outside. That's what this is. So we get 36 inches from the top of the decking to the top of the handrail minimum. I think 42 inches looks a lot better. It's up to you. 6-inch maximum space, or 6 foot maximum spacing between these. This top is 5/4 board or 2x6. I didn't even know 5/4 board was allowed. Use 2x6. I recommend. And this is a 2x4 there, going all the way across there. These are 2x2 pickets. And what are they? Oh, no, I was about to say that you don't need those. You need one number 8 wood screw on top and bottom, or two 8D ring shank nails. And no more than a 4-inch sphere should fit through here. Sometimes contractors act like a ball. Funny. So you can't have anything more than 4 inches going through there. And when you put in your guard, you can't do anything from the top or bottom 2 inches of your joist or your outer band. And you have to be in the middle there. See, this is that notching. It looks better, but it's not nearly as strong. It'll make your whole guardrail wobble. Oh, and they also have to be either tie downs, hold down anchors, whatever. You go on the inside. Inside, right? Stair geometry. All right, this is where we're going to get into stringers. I'm not going to get too much into stringers. Sorry, my dog is moving me. So when we get done with this, my camera's probably going to be all crazy. Hopefully, let me make sure you can still see me real quick, okay? Well, let me talk about stringers. Okay, I'm still here. The stringers. If you cannot use the standard ones that you buy at the store, you're going to have some good carpentry skills to make some stringers. We'll go there. I'll go into more detail here. Let's talk with stair code, first of all. I'm pretty sure this is identical to the interior code. No more than 7 3/4 inch rise from there to there on any stair. And the difference between any one of those can be no more than 3/8 of an inch. So you have to be consistent height within 3/8 of an inch the whole way. The minimum tread depth is 10 inches. Now, I want you to notice here, it's from here to there, to the edge of this. So it's really it's not all the way to the edge here. It's to right there or so. Because it's called the nose. So, oh, and no more. You see, you can leave it open in the back, but no more than a 4-inch diameter sphere can go through there. Stringers may place 18 inches on center, and because the minimum width of a stairs is 36 inches, you need to have at least 3. Stringers shall be continuous sawn or solid 2x12s, meeting the stair geometry requirements shown in 32. And if you have a span like this, if you're over 7 foot, you need to have a support right there. And you can do 4x4s on that. And you go up and you bring it over and you bring it back down. You have to have its own footing for that, obviously, as well. When you attach your stringer to the deck, use a joist hanger like this. Solid stringer, cut stringer. I don't make my own stringers. I have people that are better carpenters do that than me. So I'm not going to say how to do this. Each landing has to be 36 inches in all directions. You will need a landing if the vertical height of a stairway exceeds 12 feet. So you don't have this really long stairwell. So you have to have a landing every 12 feet. Yeah, and you have to have supports every 7 feet. Excuse me. As I said previously, each landing is a dimension of 36 in every direction. All right, so now you got handrails on the stairs. Now we got the 6-inch ball can go through here because obviously the stairs go down. Yeah, shh, hold on, puppy. They call him a puppy, but he's not a little pups. It's no more than 6 foot maximum between the posts right here. You see, 34 inches stair guard, sort of from the nose to there. Stair guard is required. Oh yeah, I already said that. Provide blocking between stair stringers at guard post locations. Stair handrails. No. Stair handrails. These aren't too hard, but they can get, especially if you want them to look good the way you want, it can kind of use your brain a little bit. So you got circular 1/4 inch to 2 inches, non-circular 2 1/4 inch maximum diameter that way. I've never made a recess before, so I don't know. So you've got the corrosion resistant hardware, 1.5 inch minimum right here, 3/4 to 34 inches to 38 inches to nosing of stairs down. No, and that's if you're mounted to guard or mounted to wall. No, you can mount on either side. You have to have a handrail. So you have to have a 36-inch minimum clear space on the floor. But obviously, your handrail is not on the floor, so it doesn't factor that in. See how they measure to this? Oh, and your handrail has to turn in at the end. You have to have it turn and join back up with the other handrail. Stair lighting. You have to have lighting because you don't want to go outside. Was it how many stairs you have to have? I think technically you can have like up to 6 stairs. I don't remember this code exactly, but yeah. So you have to have lighting because you don't want to go upstairs and then roll down this, or go out on your deck and roll down the stairs. So you want to make sure you can see where the stairs are. Stair stringer footings. That's how it works out. 8-inch square or 10-inch round, 12-inch deep footing. All 12 inches deep. They don't want to be quite as big. These can be 4x4s. Safety glazing on the window. Glass shatters. Safety glass doesn't shatter. Because if this is a walking surface, it's slippery, someone could fall, and you don't want them to fall through the window. So here, we are on a level walking space. Glass panes wholly within this area in more than 9 square feet must be safety glazed. So this one would have to be, right? Here, since we're on the stairs, the risk of falling increases, right? So glass panes partially or wholly within this area, adjacent stairs must be safety glazed. You can see this whole area. And that is it. So, yeah, I don't think if you, how long ago, I don't think if you had never tried to build a deck before, I don't think you're going to go out there right now and build it, are you? So if you had actually built a deck in your house, you see my beautiful picture? So I'm going to have to move my computer to get it out of the way because my dog knocked my computer there. Knocked my camera. Now, if you want to pull permits, if you are the owner of the house, and you're living there, you do not need a licensed contractor to pull permits. You can pull homeowner permits and do it yourself, or have a contractor do the work with you, or have a trusted contractor. You can, if you do that, you have the risk. You don't use the licensed contractor. If there's anything goes wrong, it's on you. If you are willing to take on that risk, building a deck, especially if you're for more simple layouts, isn't too bad. It's in the specifics that are going to kind of come out when you start doing it that kind of make it tricky, and you might need to use your noggin a little bit. Also, these 6x6s and putting in these joists, putting in these posts and all that, it's pretty physically difficult sometimes, especially if you're doing on a second level, etc. So there's no reason you can't do it. You can do it yourself. If pulling permits, depending on, there's going to be much variation depending on where you are located, like if you're in the city of Atlanta, or if you're in the country somewhere, or if you're in a suburban area. It's also going to depend on where the setbacks might be to the house. Say, for example, he's sometimes in Cherokee County, for example, which is where I'm at. Basically, you just have a plat and you kind of just draw it on there, where it's going to be, they can look at it and tell you if you can build it as far as site plans. You'll need to make up some plans on what you're going to do, regardless. But say, for example, I had one in the city of Atlanta. The issue, I was going to be coming close to the setback lines, which is as far back as you can build on the property. And there was also some trees that needed to be removed. And there was also water variation, water setback. I forget the exact verbiage for that. So I had to get a full survey, and I get the trees all noted on there and all that type of stuff. That one cost a lot of money to do. But I think this was a good overview on what you would kind of need and what the contractor should be looking for, what they should be looking at, and what your deck is kind of going to look like. So for the viewer's sake, if I messed anything up in here, please comment below. If you learned anything, please like, comment, share, or subscribe. If you have any questions about Georgia real estate or construction, I guess you know where I'm at. This is Alan. I'm investing in Georgia. Got that mixed up.